Man, I tell you what, nothing makes racist white people more pissed off than me, a white person, trying to educate about racism and trying to educate about what white privilege is and all these things. And it's so funny because these same people will argue with me till they are blue in the face about how they're not racist and we don't live in a racist institution and black and brown people have it so easy and racism doesn't exist anymore. But then they will turn around and say the most racist, ignorant, vile shit you've ever heard in your life. The disconnect is amazing. And this is why I make content like this, because it's so important. Because we do live in a racist institution, and we are all raised in racism as white people. This is simply a fact. And the crazy part about it is every one of us knows this. Even the ones who will sit there and fight with me to the death about it and act like it doesn't exist. Y'all know white people are racist. Y'all know about the casual racism, the casual microaggressions that we are raised in, no matter where we live in this United States of America. And this is why I will never stop. I will never stop trying to educate as a white person about racism and how we need to learn. We need to evolve. We need to do better. It's almost as if they feel like admitting to a racist institution or admitting to racism makes them this evil, terrible person. And so they would rather double down than to grow and be a good person. And that's so bad, because all that says to me is that you have a small mind and a cowardly soul. And I wish better for you than that, truly, because everything in your life will get better when you stop being so ignorant.
Of course we pander to blacks. They're in every TV commercial. They get more privileges to come into society. They come into every college on preferential with lower test scores. You can't ever say anything negative. You can lose your job. You have your entire life obliterated if you say something racist. And yet we have to hear about how racist we are. How about you take responsibility for your own actions instead of blaming the white man?
So this is what you call black privilege. Go check out the videos to this comment. And just so you know, crying racism is not going to silence white people anymore. We don't care anymore. We're over it. The white guilt era has officially come to an end, unfortunately for you. I really hope that your job comes across this video. Yeah, that would be nice.
There's BET, there's Black Awards, there's this and this and this. There's all kinds of black privilege in this country, and white people get called racist. I don't give a fuck that you guys have your own things and do all this shit. That's fine with me. But don't fucking tell me that there isn't an anti-white narrative going on in society, because there is, and there has been since the day I was fucking born. I'm not allowed to say I'm proud to be white. You're allowed to say you're proud to be black. Latinos are allowed to say I'm proud to be Latino. But if a white person says, oh, I'm proud to be white, it's white supremacy. I could go to the internet and find 1,000 examples of black people saying ignorant shit about white people. And you have a very hard time finding public figures that are saying that same shit about black people. In fact,
I can find one.
It does. Really?
Joe Biden.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
All right. All of a sudden, blacks are enjoying some privileges that other people are not. Apparently, there's a group of individuals, group of people who believe that, or now maybe they're waking up to the realization that blacks are enjoying some benefits. Now, the coined expression here is black privilege. Now, it's very hard to comprehend that one, but I'll try also to, break it down into a more a comprehensible manner. That is, that blacks' efforts to make lives better, to make things better for themselves, blacks' effort to smile, blacks' effort to just stay happy, blacks' effort to just, become creative in many domains, many platforms, music industry, arts, literature. Now, I don't know, all of a sudden that one is, considered as the benefit accrued to just being black. That one hit me hard. You see, all along, the whites have always believed that they are better off than blacks. blacks are, uncompetitive. They cannot compete with them. Blacks are inferior. Blacks are uneducated in many platforms. But then all of a sudden now, there are these individuals who believe, even as we just watched, that blacks effort to be seen, blacks are too seen, blacks are too vocal, blacks are too creative, blacks are too educated, blacks are into politics. All that one is believed to be benefits accrued to just being black. And there are individuals who've just watched, and of course many other sentiments which you're going to watch shortly. So join me because I've compiled those particular videos, courtesy of the creators. Me and you are going to watch, and of course we're going to make our thoughts towards the end of it, of what exactly you think, and of what exactly you think. So let's keep on watching and meet at the end of this particular show.
Black privilege is the fact that this woman could literally just go to her boss and say that someone was racist and get her fired. That's black privilege. Black privilege is the fact that you can have a beauty pageant only for black people. Black privilege is the fact that you have scholarships only for African Americans. If white people had any of that, it would be called discrimination and it would be called racist. Please tell me something that white people can have that black people cannot. And I want you to talk out of facts and not emotion. Like the fact that black people have black spaces. Could you imagine if there was a white space in our college dorms, in our high schools? Like, let's be for real. And I want to point out that those are things that I do not want to be taken away from anybody. But if one group of people can have it, so should the other.
Black privilege is a thing. And a lot of people will sit there and argue with me and tell me that I'm wrong. But you can't. Because if you really think about it, black people in America, especially in America, have more rights when it comes down to freedom of speech. On this app alone shows exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm not going to show you any examples because all you have to do is go into the search bar on TikTok and search white people are, white people this, white people something, and you will find nothing but derogatory shit hurled at white people from black people. But you can't say the same about white people and black people. White people can't say these things on TikTok. White people can't say these things on the internet. They can barely say it out loud because then they'll be ridiculed as racist. But a black person can come on this app or really any other app and say whatever they want about white people. They can call them names. They can call them derogatory names. They can say anything they want about them. They can insult them. They can insult people right directly to their face. And they will not get any trouble whatsoever unless the video gets mass reported. And even then, in the comments, you're going to see a whole bunch of black people, especially black women, agree with this type of shit. And so that is a privilege in itself, being able to have more freedom of speech than white people. Imagine having upgraded rights and you're over here complaining that America's so bad. So the next time someone brings up white privilege this, white privilege that, bring up how ridiculous black privilege is and then show them my example.
To my white brothers and sisters, I'm not politically correct. I tell it like it is. When I hear someone say go back to your country, it's always from a white person directed at a black or brown person. But that makes no sense because our ancestors weren't from here and we stole this land and we're still colonizing it. And when I hear black and indigenous and people of color talk about reparations, I hear a white person in the background yelling reverse racism. But that makes no sense because white people have never been and are not being oppressed based on their race. So white people, I have a question. Why are you so afraid of losing your position in society? Why are you so afraid of losing the comfort that white supremacy has given you? Why are you so afraid of actual equality? Learn up.
What's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
Black privilege is a disease. Hear me out. Talk about white privilege and how white people have so many advantages over others, but I don't see any white people getting any advantages. If the person's working hard, regardless of what color they are, they get what they want. Remember, you're the pilot of your own life, right? When I was in college, I got grants for just being black. My white friend didn't get any for being white. In fact, he had to pay out of pocket because he didn't qualify. Interesting. White person goes into a store, gets caught, takes it, moves on. Black person gets caught stealing at a store,
It's because I'm black. Now there's a case and we got to figure out if there's discrimination involved. Police officer pulls over a white person. Asks for license and registration. They give it to him. Cop pulls over a black person asking for the same details. I got to pull out my phone now. This cop's automatically racist. TikTok, do your thing. We need this cop fired. All cops are bad. White people talking shit about black people online? Banned. Racist. Find their job, get them fired. Find their school, make sure they can never get an education again. And call their parents. Black people talking shit about white people online? Yas, sis, get them! Yas! Somehow TikTok just lets it stay up. White girl wears braids. Everybody's up in arms. Cancel her. Black women wearing unnatural hairstyles and unnatural hair colors like blonde. I mean the blonde that doesn't even fit your color. You just look foolish. No backlash whatsoever. Black people doing a TikTok trend. Support throughout the entire app. From all races. White person doing that same TikTok trend. When are they gonna steal our trends? Can't we just have something for ourselves? I'm just bitching just to bitch at this point. It sounds to me like black people are being catered to. Almost like a privilege. Well, that's part one.
Black privilege in America is real, and the Angel Reese situation is a prime example. This is a girl playing in the NCAA championship that's got 10 seconds left in the game. She's up by 15 points, and she goes right over to the best player on the opposing team and starts taunting her, even though they've already known that they're going to win the game. It didn't matter. She had to taunt her and walk Caitlin Clark off of the court. And then everybody came to her defense when people said, well, this was classless. This was unsportsmanlike. And they said, how could that be? That's ridiculous. When Caitlin Clark trash talks, nobody has anything to say. Well, maybe there are clear differences. Like when Caitlin Clark trash talked and when she did this, which is exactly what Angel Reese did in Caitlin Clark's face, Caitlin Clark did it to her coach, her own coach, telling her own coach that I'm unfazed. That's literally what she was doing. And Angel Reese did this in Caitlin Clark's face to taunt her with 10 seconds left being up by 15 points. And then they're going to talk about Caitlin Clark, how she waved off a three-point shooter in a different game. First of all, why are we bringing up different games? Let's talk about the LSU game. And so what if she waved off a three-point shooter? Every single sport, every single game out there, there's a mental note to that game. And to wave somebody off, yes, that's to get to them mentally. With 10 seconds left when you're winning, there's no competition left. It's pointless to do that. The only reason that you would do that is to aggressively start something. Angel Reese was aggressive here. She was looking to get into a fight. 10 seconds left, you go up to the best player on the opposing team after they lost the NCAA championship and you start taunting her in her face while walking her off the court. You're looking for a fight. Any other sport in any other place in this world, if that would have happened with any other athletes, it would have been a fist fight. Caitlin Clark did an absolutely phenomenal job to not even acknowledge Angel Reese once. She didn't even look at her. I mean, we clearly know who was raised right and who wasn't. This is how we know black privilege exists. There are things that black people can do that other people cannot. There was a whole flock of people that came in defense of Angel Reese, even though she was in the wrong. Clearly, all she had to do was in her post-game interview come out and say, I'm sorry, I let my emotions get the best of me. But instead, she came out and said that she was unapologetic. She said she was unapologetically black. That's what she said on Twitter, which I'm not really sure why she would be conflating being black and taunting aggressively having anything to do with each other. I mean, trash talking has been going on in every sport forever, between white people, between black people. It really doesn't make a difference. So the idea that, oh, now we're mad about trash talking because it's a black person, black people trash talk all the time. We watch this in the NBA. We watch this in all these other sports. So what would make this any different? It wouldn't be different. She should have taken responsibility. But instead, all these people came to her defense to remove that responsibility from her and condone this sort of behavior. It's on them when incidents occur on the court, especially in non-professional games. This is a college basketball game. I mean, somebody should actually come out and say, we don't want these kids to be acting this way. This is unprofessional. But instead, all of these past athletes and all of these analysts on SportsCenter and all of the race baiters on Twitter, all they're going to do, they're going to build this up and make it look like a white and black situation, even though we've got context. There's videos of everything that happens. So the idea that there's not black privilege in America is ridiculous. And this is a prime example of it.
Us as black people, and I'm calling out everybody black, we have to create our own black privilege. We have to. It's non-negotiable. What does that look like? I was on a plane sitting first class. There was a little girl walked by me, she had her backpack on. She was so adorable, and she just kept staring at me, and I said, "You are so pretty." And she goes, right, she looked away. I said, "No, you are so pretty." And then I heard her ask her mom, like, about me sitting up front, right? What that means. Her mom said, "Oh, that's first class." And she said, "Mommy, why we can't sit here?" They're having this quiet conversation.
Right.
They get in their seat. I told the stewardess, "Go get that little girl." She said, "Which one?" The little girl that walked by me. She went and got the little girl. I said, "Listen, you have my seat if the mom's okay with it." The mom was like, "Absolutely." So I said, "She has my seat. Whatever she wants, order it." But my point is, I created black privilege with that. We have to start to create that. White people only have white privilege because they privilege their people. We have to start seeing our black people and privilege them. Yeah. We have to do that. That is something I'm calling out every black person to do. If you got a penny or if you got $1 million, figure out once a day what black person you can privilege. I don't care if it's your neighbor or if it's a family member. Please do that.
But I would like to say what scares us is I think we hear violence.
The young lady said she's afraid of violence. And isn't it sad that we who have been the victims of so much violence, now whites fear violence from us? We do not have a history of killing white people. White people have a history of killing us. See? And what you fear, may I say this, sir? What you fear, and it's a deep guilt thing that white folks suffer. You are afraid that if we ever come to power, we will do to you and your fathers what you and your people have done to us. And I think you are judging us by the state of your own mind, and that is not necessarily the mind of black people.
I wanted to prove to myself that white privilege is not real. So I teamed up with a white friend of mine, and we went to a store, and we were going to both steal one piece of candy, but do it in an obvious manner so we easily get caught. We both take the candy, and we both try to exit the store. They catch both of us and tell us that we have to pay for it. I immediately say the words, "Is it because I'm black that you think that I'm stealing something?" The store employee's face now changed. They didn't want to deal with it. Now the situation's bigger than it is. Even though they caught me, the situation is now bigger than it was. So the employee tries to argue, and the manager says, "Let him go." But my white friend is now banned from that store. I displayed black privilege in pure form, just right there. We both stole the same thing. I just had an advantage. I had a trump card.
And I thought, well, I've been paying attention to Hillsdale College in the context of Tennessee. Tennessee wants to bring in a new charter school model, and they wanted to bring in the Hillsdale College charter school curriculum. They are a classical instructional model, which means Greco-Roman, Socrates, all of that, Socratic method. But they also are influential in banning books and deciding which figures get elevated in history. And you can imagine which ones might not be. And here was the explanation in this video for why certain characters in history should not be featured prominently. This particular gentleman who is featured in this video, if you just Google David Azeron, Hillsdale College, St. Vincent, he was doing a speech at St. Vincent, which is a college, a Catholic institution, talking about why black people in America today are the most privileged people. And his argument is, in short, even the most mediocre black people can be elevated to higher heights than white people today. So there are lots of white men who are not being elevated to the appropriate position because their skin is white. And the two examples he uses in this particular clip are George Washington Carver, who he suggests is mediocre. If you don't know who that is, Google him. And then he says, and the ridiculous film Hidden Figures, 3 low-level black women mathematicians. Y'all, I made the mistake of finding the full video. If you're black, you may not want to watch the full video. You may not last more than 5 minutes. I didn't. But I want to encourage you, if you're not black, to find the full video and watch it, because this is the stuff that is being spewed in spaces that have incredible influence. These people have a lot of money. They have the ear of people making decisions. And it is so problematic and so dehumanizing. And I just wanted to bring it to your attention because it's really bothering me. Okay, y'all. Have a great day.
Okay. I promised that I'll show up at the end of this particular video, and here we are. So let's talk about how this one has turned out to be a privilege, and it is a coined thingy that is, spiraling out there. That blacks, excellence, blacks' brilliance, and blacks' effort, to make lives better, blacks' ability to be creative, blacks, shining in many domains, many platforms. That is when it comes to music industry, when it comes to arts, when it comes to, literature. Now, all of a sudden, I already say that one in our prelude there, the intro video that I just made, that all these ones has been, coined to be black privilege. It's shocking. It's ironical. It is ironically ironical that the blacks are now, enjoying some privileges, and a term that it's really very hard to perceive. What kind of white black privilege are the blacks enjoying? Wait, for just being black? Okay, where I come from, we call that one jealousy. Jealousy. And that jealousy is going to kill you. So anyway, it's only my opinion. I also do start corrected that if there's a black privileges, please, on the comment section, let me get to know what are these privileges. I might be wrong, and I also stand corrected. Correct me on the comment section. So we've had a nice show right now. So guys, I'm gonna leave it at this particular point, and we meet in the next one, like this one here. So see you then.